Jeremiah Brown was a man of the earth. Born and raised on his family farm in the heart of Alabama, he had grown up with the sun on his back and the soil in his hands. Over the years, Jeremiah turned that farm into a thriving enterprise, selling specialty crops prized by chefs and grocers across the country. Despite his success, he remained grounded, always wearing his weathered overalls, dusty boots, and a straw hat that seemed to have seen as much life as he had. But Jeremiah's ambitions stretched beyond the fields. Shipping his produce was becoming a challenge. Logistics companies couldn't always deliver on time, and the delays were costing him customers. One evening, while sipping sweet tea on his porch, an idea struck him. Why not invest in aviation? He could buy a small fleet of planes to handle his deliveries directly. The very next morning, Jeremiah drove to Zenith Skyways, one of the country's top airplane manufacturers. The company's headquarters was a gleaming tower of glass and steel, a world away from the rustic charm of Jeremiah's farm. As he walked through the revolving doors, heads turned. His boots echoed on the polished floors, leaving faint scuffs as he made his way to the reception desk. "I'm Jeremiah Brown," he said, tipping his hat politely. "I'd like to talk to someone about buying a few planes." The receptionist hesitated, her eyes flickering over his attire. After a pause, she called for an executive. A tall, impeccably dressed man named Richard Vance strode into the lobby. His tailored suit and air of authority made it clear he was used to being in charge. "You must be lost," Richard said with a smirk. "This isn't a tractor dealership." Jeremiah smiled, unfazed. "No mistake here, sir. I'm interested in planes for my business." Richard chuckled, glancing at Jeremiah's boots. "Planes? From us? I don't think we cater to your demographic. Maybe try a hobby store." And Richard said, "Go away, farmer." The insult hung in the air, sharp as a scythe. Jeremiah's smile didn't waver, but something in his eyes hardened. "Well," he said, tipping his hat again, "thank you for your time." He walked out, his boots scuffing the pristine floor one last time. That night, Jeremiah sat at his kitchen table, thinking. He wasn't angry. He'd faced his share of condescension before. But this time was different. He saw an opportunity. Over the next few months, Jeremiah delved into the aviation industry, reading everything he could find about Zenith Skyways. To his surprise, the company was struggling financially, barely staying afloat despite its luxurious image. Jeremiah decided to act. Quietly, he began buying shares, using his considerable wealth and connections to gain a controlling interest. 6 months later, Jeremiah returned to Zenith Skyways. This time, he wore a navy suit, simple yet sharp. He walked into the boardroom, where Richard and the other executives were gathered, oblivious to the day's agenda. When Jeremiah took his seat at the head of the table, the room fell silent. "Good morning," he said, a twinkle in his eye. "I'm Jeremiah Brown, your new majority shareholder." Richard's jaw dropped. "You?" Jeremiah leaned forward, his smile warm but firm. "Looks like I'll be running things around here. Let's get to work." Under Jeremiah's leadership, Zenith Skyways transformed. He launched a new division, Skyroutes Aviation, focused on affordable, practical planes for rural businesses and small-scale entrepreneurs. The division introduced innovative designs, including planes capable of landing on short, rugged runways and equipped with refrigeration units for perishable goods. Farmers and small business owners across the country hailed the changes as revolutionary. As for Richard, Jeremiah offered him a second chance. "I see potential in you," he said one evening. "Lead this new division and prove you're the leader I know you can be." Richard, humbled and inspired, threw himself into the role, becoming one of Jeremiah's most trusted executives. Years later, at the grand opening of a new Skyroutes facility, Richard stood before hundreds of employees. "None of this would have been possible without Jeremiah Brown," he said. "He taught me that humility, vision, and kindness are the most powerful tools in any business." The crowd erupted in applause as Jeremiah, seated in the front row, tipped his straw hat. He knew his journey, from the fields to the skies, wasn't just about proving doubters wrong. It was about building bridges, lifting others, and showing the world that greatness often comes in overalls and boots.